There's a story that's as old as time that happens to more individuals than I really care to think about. And it's the story of resistance. And the resistance most often shows up whenever our initial inspiration and motivation wears away. This resistance often happens when most people are closest to making their biggest breakthrough. There's a story of a young man in the days of gold digging and you know, all those that were out there digging for gold and mining for gold. And there's a story of a young man in these days where he had been working so diligently on his particular parcel of where he could potentially find gold and make a new and wonderful life for his entire family. He worked day and night, week after week, month after month, only to give up in despair. And as he's walking away from this particular place that he had been mining, he ran into a gentleman. And the gentleman offered him a sum of money, a sum of cash, to give away any and all rights to this area that he had been mining. Well, I bet you can only imagine that all it took for this gentleman that came in was a slight shift in where he was digging. And he hit gold, found gold almost immediately. How many of us, whenever we are making our greatest progress in whatever it is we are building or seeking, or maybe it's transformation of our own being, transformation of our own patterns, how many of us, when we are in that point where it feels the most challenging, it feels like we've worked so hard for so long, give up? Because my friends, this is when resistance rises. The more that we are pressing into our edges, we begin to feel the resistance of our edges. And we perceive that we've gone as far as we can go. When in fact, those edges have simply been a container that have kept us in one particular place with the crazy, wild delusion that we were actually free in the first place. And then we move along and we start feeling resistance because we are now pressing against the container that we had built to hold us imprisoned, and we perceive that it's time to give up because it's not doing any good. We feel more constricted and bound up than ever. And it's at that time that we start searching for that immediate way to sedate the pain, to not feel the suffering, to just get away from it. When all the while, just on the other side, just the next step, just the next moment, it was there all along. Stay the course, my friends. Stay the course. We are in a world that is more divided than ever, and that's not just some empty rhetoric. It's real. It's clear. It's pressing in. And whether you realize it or not, your narrative is being shaped. The way you think is being shaped. And the greatest thing that you can do is press into your edges and decide and learn what does it mean to get centered and to be unmoved by appearances, unmoved. Greg Braden says that the way that we will end war is that we must end the inner conflict, that opposition that is happening within each of us. We must get to work and push to our edges, feel the resistance of our possibility, move into it, press into it, love into it, cry into it, scream into it, do whatever it takes. Get clear, get focused, learn what it means that you create your own narrative. You decide what content, will fill the space of your consciousness. You decide. But you must be clear. Am I deciding from the biggest S self possibility of who I am? Or is this a narrative from out there? Where is it coming from? Resistance is your gift. When two forces press together, they create pressure. They create power. Opposing forces that come together in a reconciled space of equanimity is the very impulse that gives rise to the beauty of creation, to the beauty of our power within that creation, and of the beauty of all that is. Namaste. Swaha.